Dev Kumar Bansal has been a resident of Jasola Vihar for more than 12 years. A leafy South Delhi neighborhood once considered well planned for residents.
When I came here, I was a perfectly healthy man.
Soon after Bansal moved into this neighborhood, Delhi built its first waste-to-energy plant barely 3 kilometers from his residence. The Timarpur Okhla waste-to-energy plant burns close to 2,000 metric tons of municipal solid waste every day to produce 23 megawatts of electricity. From day one of its operations, residents have been struggling to breathe because of the toxic fumes that have taken over the neighborhood.
Whenever I visit my doctor these days, he tells me that your lung capacity has been severely compromised. So you need to take proper care. You should not walk in the morning. You should not do your morning exercise.
Over the years, reports have shown devastating repercussions of the close proximity of the plant to residential quarters, especially for senior citizens. Madan Molwani has lived in the neighborhood for 34 years. Over the last decade, his lung capacity has dropped by 50%.
If the pollution level was, say, 200 here, now because of this it is 350 or 400. So 50% I will rate because of this only, which can be avoided easily.
See any of the plants around here, see how much dust is there. If I leave my car outside in the morning, I'll see a layer of dust all over it.
Delhi's air quality has been rated amongst the worst in the world. But while the state has imposed emergency measures like the Graded Response Action Plan across transport and construction sectors in particular, the capital's waste-to-energy incinerators seem to have been given a free rein. Delhi currently has 4 functional WTE plants, burning close to 7,500 tons of unsegregated municipal waste every day.
And they're breathing quantities of lead that are so dangerous that it could lower your IQ. Quantities of lead that are so dangerous that it can cause brain developmental disorders. And it was really just an incredibly challenging and terrifying public health story.
New York Times correspondent Maria Abi Habib in November 2024 broke a story that blew the lid off what these plants were really doing to people around them. A 5-year investigation conducted jointly by the New York Times, IIT Delhi and Johns Hopkins University revealed how contamination levels in soil samples, air and fly ash deposits from around the Timarpur Okhla plant were dangerously higher than areas 9 kilometers away.
You name it in terms of nasty heavy metals that really affect your quality of life and your health, we found in huge quantities around the plant. Whereas at the control area, 9 kilometers away, we did not see that level of lead, arsenic, etc. Then we spoke to the gynecologist who Dr. Mishra, who had lived who had worked in the Sukhdev Vihar neighborhood right next to the plant. And she had been there practicing in that neighborhood since 1999. And she said, since this plant came online about 12 years ago, I have never witnessed this level of miscarriages. I tell people if you are pregnant, you need to leave this neighborhood. It's not safe for you. It's not safe for baby. So there was that. But also we have to remember that certain things we know that the lead from our testing, right, which was done with some of the world's best scientists again, that lead was off the charts in the neighborhood around the plant. Cadmium was off the charts, arsenic, cobalt. Things that are considered to be extremely toxic.
According to Maria's report, close to 1 million people are affected by the Okhla plant alone. The plant is a joint partnership between Jindal Urban Infrastructure Limited and the Delhi government. Despite being fined by the National Green Tribunal and the Delhi Pollution Control Committee, Delhi's waste-to-energy plants have remained operational.
There were a lot of points raised against the Okhla plant. And one of the issues that came up was the release of dioxins and furans, which was in much excess to the standards laid down in the country.
Satish Sinha is the Associate Director at Toxics Link, an NGO committed to raising awareness about toxic hazards.
Now, dioxins and furans are two gases which are known to be carcinogen, and they have been globally accepted as one of the most toxic emissions. They are now banned to be released or controlled to be released by a Stockholm Convention, which is an international convention on persistent organic pollutants, and India is signatory to this international convention.
Despite global evidence that waste to energy really is a false solution to tackling the waste crisis, India continues to push for them. In a country where efficient waste management practices like segregation is weak, these plants seem to only add to the problem. They not only divert from real solutions like addressing overconsumption and enforcing recycling, but leave in their wake a toxic and polluted ecosystem. 28-year-old Harinder works as a truck operator at the Bandwari landfill, close to the Delhi-Haryana border. 40 lakh tons of waste lie dumped here with fresh loads added even today. In 2024, Harinder's village 2 kilometers away was found contaminated with E. coli bacteria, rendering the water undrinkable.
एक तो पानी खराब हो चुका है यहाँ. अगर यहाँ पे भी पास में देखेंगे नज़दीक में तो पानी कतई नमक सा हो गया बोर का, और गांव में पानी खराब है तो फिल्टर करके पीते हैं उसे, ऐसा पानी हो गया. और मच्छर मक्खी काफ़ी हो गए. पहले कोई मच्छर न मक्खी कुछ नहीं था, जब से कचरा डाला जब से दिक्कत आ रही है.
60% of the waste at Bandwari is wet waste that could be easily composted. Instead of sealing the landfill and processing segregated waste, there have been talks of setting up another waste-to-energy plant here as well.
We are failing in our solid waste management rules. We are failing on segregating waste, which is extremely important. The moment you segregate waste and then you bring in that last maybe 2 to 3% of waste that cannot be now either recycled or upcycled or composted, that comes and gets incinerated. It's all in control. But right now, bringing mixed waste here and burning it is hazardous in every way, and every environmental, you're breaking every environmental rule basically.
Citizen activist Bavreen Kandari has been at the forefront of protests demanding the closure of Delhi's WTE plants, primarily because of the dangers of burning unsegregated waste.
So see, as close to the plant, how much smell this is, toxic, that it's like acid,
When mixed waste is burned, the two main byproducts are exhaust gases and ash, both of which contain poisonous chemicals and fine particles.
So one of the best examples that comes to my mind is a city like Indore. I don't think they have an incineration plant. They have gone in for biomethanation.
There are safer technologies to produce energy from waste, Satish points out, like biomethanation. This is when fruit and vegetable waste is processed to produce purified bio-CNG. In Indore, this green gas is used to fuel city buses.
So you generate methane gas, but this is a very safe process and is a very friendly process, which does not cause harm to environment.
Back at the Okhla plant, the New York Times investigation exposed another frightful reality. Fly ash, a noxious byproduct of burnt mixed waste, was being dumped openly near homes, schools and parks.
They were taking the ash in open bed trucks winding their way through Delhi. We were watching morning commuters trying to rush to work with the ash billowing from the truck into their eyes. Same thing with children. And then they were just dumping it like that right into neighborhoods with no precautions.
In 2021, citizen activist Neelam Ahluwalia had discovered how toxic ash from the Okhla plant was being dumped at the Delhi border. Unaware of the lethal repercussions, she found waste pickers scavenging these dumps for metal scraps to be sold for as little as 40 rupees a kg.
क्या है ये सारा इतना काला काला क्यों दिख रहा है?
ये जल के आता है।
कहाँ से?
ये ओखला से आता है शायद।
तो दिखाइए आप कैसे करते हैं?
दिन में नहीं, मैं रात को भी करते हैं ये काम।
ये निकलता है लोहा।
ऐसा लोहा बहुत मेहनत का काम है ये।
अब इसको इकट्ठा करके फिर छन्नी लगाएंगे और छन्नी छानने के बाद फिर ऐसा चोबा निकालेंगे।
अच्छा।
हाँ, बहुत मेहनत करते हैं।
If it seems like it couldn't get any worse, the Okhla plant also faces accusations of exploiting the international carbon credits market. In 2013, the plant reportedly received Rs 25 lakhs as carbon credits from the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change.
जिंदल साहब लगा रहे थे, उसमें कार्बन क्रेडिट का पूरा बाजार खत्म हो गया था, तो अभी फिर से वो शुरू होने के तरफ बढ़ रहा है, जा रहा है। इसीलिए जो है अब लोग उम्मीद कर रहे हैं कि हो सकता है कि हमको आ जाए। उस समय तो नहीं हाथ लगा कुछ उनको पैसा, लेकिन हो सकता है कि आने वाले टाइम में अब उनको कुछ मिल जाए, इसीलिए जो है वो कोशिश कर रहे हैं।
Gaia, or the Global Alliance for Incinerator Alternatives, has been fighting globally against incinerators being falsely promoted as a green solution. According to them, this is nothing more than environmental racism, where communities that have no role in creating waste are the ones who end up suffering for it.
अधिकारी लोग आकर के पब्लिकली बोलते हैं कि हमको वेस्ट टू एनर्जी प्लांट से जो है हम एनर्जी नहीं पैदा कर रहे हैं, और एनर्जी को जो कूड़ा है उसको जलाने के लिए हमको एनर्जी लगाना पड़ता है। खुद उनके डिज़ाइन में आता है कि 3 वहाँ पे प्लांट के अंदर में डीजल टैंक बड़े लगाए हैं, और डीजल से जो है को इस्तेमाल करते हैं वो कूड़ा को जलाने के लिए, जो 2000 टन कचरा रोज़ का वहाँ प्रोसेस होता है। तो एक एनर्जी को यदि बनाने के लिए यदि दूसरा एनर्जी आप लगा रहे हैं, तो इसका मतलब साफ है कि आप एनर्जी नहीं आप वो कर रहे हैं, ये पानी में आग लगाने की बात कह रहे हैं।
For the people who live around these plants in Delhi, the choice is either to leave or to suffer the consequences.
जी बहुत बेच के चले गए मकान, काफ़ी लोग चले गए हैं, कुछ ही लोग पड़े हैं बस पुराने जो हैं यहाँ के रहने वाले, बाकी जो नए बंदे तो चले गए हैं। ये फ्लैट बन गए हैं तो नए आ गए हैं रहने के लिए, इस वजह से जल्दी कोई आता नहीं है यार।
Years of petitions and protests notwithstanding, residents say the government has done close to nothing to help. In fact, Delhi now plans to burn an additional 6,000 tons of mixed garbage every day by 2027. The Okhla plant, meanwhile, now operates during the nights.
When they operate in the day, the smell is all prevalent, and everybody who passes or moves about will notice that smell. So they have decided of their own that they will run it only during night, so that number of people who notice it are less.
Obviously, residents who are here and in this side of Delhi are already very sick and tired of this. As much as they fought this battle is too long. It's about over a decade. But the shocking part is that yes, it's continuing. It's not even about this. Now we are expanding and we are bringing in more of such monsters in the city.
We tried reaching out to the Jindal Group and to the Delhi Municipal Corporation. No official response was offered by either.
Thanks for watching Eco India. If you like the story, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to Scroll.in on YouTube.